Last week, Susan Evans tweeted out about an exciting new educational resource for transgender people, or for the parents of transgender people. Evans tweeted, "We are pleased to launch Understanding Trans Identity, a free educational resource bringing together our books, articles, lectures, and interviews developed over decades of clinical work. We hope it contributes to thoughtful inquiry, careful assessment, and informed discussion." She then put a link to the website and tags two accounts that wouldn't tag properly: the British Psychological Foundation, the Royal College of Psychiatry, and also the Royal College of Nursing, and this is the big one, the one at the end there, J.K. Rowling. And it's an interesting picture, but of course there is, whenever J.K. Rowling's being tagged in something, you should always treat it with suspicion, and this is no exception. If you go on the website, they claim, "Our aim is simple: to create a place where difficult questions can be explored carefully, respectfully, and without ideological pressure." Now, I don't know about any of you, but I have a little alarm that starts going off whenever anyone talks about being opposed to ideology, because that usually means that they've got an ideology that they consider objective, and that's their objective view of the world and the way that truth is. The most ideological people, in my experience, are often those that claim that they don't have an ideology. They also state that understanding these experiences requires time, thoughtful assessment, and the willingness to remain open to complexity rather than rushing towards predetermined conclusions. I wonder what predetermined conclusions they could be. That's mysterious, isn't it? And if you look at the bottom of the page, it gets a bit clearer. It points you to some support links. And these links include the anti-trans hate group Transgender Trend and Bayswater Support Group, an anti-trans group where members discuss non-affirmative exploratory therapies, otherwise known as conversion therapy. Some of the techniques of non-affirmative approaches being discussed by the Bayswater Support Group included using isolation to punish them for expressing their gender identity, and putting hot chili sauce in their eyeliner to punish them. We're talking about children, remember, for wearing makeup. That was what was leaked from internal documents of the Bayswater Support Group, internal forums, I should say, members of the Bayswater Support Group. So why is this educational resource pointing towards anti-trans hate groups? Well, it's a common technique used by far-right evangelicals when campaigning against abortion in the USA. They'll often set up unwanted pregnancy resources and things of that nature that actually just feed you propaganda. They present this sort of caring image, but it's not a caring image at all. What they're interested in is leading you down a particular path. No, you can't go down that path, the one that would lead you to get an abortion. We're going to take you down this other path. We don't support predetermined conclusions, right? Predetermined conclusions being, of course, when you disagree with them. And this is a similar thing because it all comes from a similar place. Maya, I can see lots of unsuspecting parents being drawn to this site because it does appear at first to be quite compassionate. And if you saw it without knowing that, you might think that, well, you know, they're clearly people who are out to help me. They're talking about understanding and respect, and not jumping to conclusions. What did you make of that?
It's unfortunately not particularly shocking. Transphobia is usually it's often so nefarious and masked by concern, like a lot of other forms of bigotry. It's the same repackaged stuff from homophobia in the 70s and in the 80s and during the AIDS crisis, and they were worried about our children being gay. And now that we as a society have moved on in quotation marks, because we haven't, they've come up with this new ideological enemy of trans people because it's this new trend, despite the fact that in Judaism we have the concept of trans people from 5,000 years ago. Trans people have always been around, but suddenly we have had this culture war stoked by the kind of upper class and by the media for everyone to have these concerns and these worries about their children that they've never had before, because trans people were never ideologically, opposed or opposing like our societal standards. It's really scary. It's really scary that like concerned people can get pulled in. But that's how these ideologies work, is that they often mask bigotry behind concern. It's a very, very hard country to be transgender in, with a lot of scary policies coming out, with such long wait lists. And in some areas of the UK, you can wait 40 years before you get one appointment at a gender clinic. It is just reflecting attitudes in society as a whole. And it's really scary and it's very concerning, and this will do so much damage. There is just no rigorously peer-reviewed scientific articles are coming out that don't have ulterior motives, that are affirming anything said by these transphobic charities and these transphobic organizations. We know that the most effective way to improve the outcome of children that face gender dysphoria is by allowing them to transition, is early access to things like puberty blockers, and is to have hormones that align with their gender to allow them to transition. That saves lives. We know that for a fact, that is the way that you can give these children the best outcome of their lives, is to support them in their transition. And that's it. And anyone who disagrees with that is disagreeing with vigorously researched science that we know for a fact that is how you help these children. It's the same, as I said, it's repackaged homophobia, worries about children when we know what's best for our children, and it's to let them transition if they wish to.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. The largest ever meta-study done on transition was done as a literature review done by Cornell University, if anybody wants to look it up. Basically, firms, it's like something like 96% of the studies, there's about 50 or 60 studies that they took, 96% of the studies found that transition positively impacts trans people, or gender-affirming care does, and it was like 4% found that there was a neutral impact, but there was no evidence of negative impact. You're absolutely right. But these people they live amongst us, and you'll never lose money appealing to or betting on the lowest common denominator, because I don't know if you've seen this, but apparently there is a Welsh beach where supposedly Dobby's grave is, right? And there was supposed to be a 430 million pound undersea power cable going through it. It's Freshwater West Beach in Wales. I'm looking at my phone to get up this information. And apparently Harry Potter fans, adult Harry Potter fans, were so outraged that they got it redirected. And on top of this, of course, J.K. Rowling has spent the last week or so announcing that she will support people who want to sue the NHS for being too under-resourced to sex segregate their wards in a way that makes her and her little band of weirdos happy. Do you think this is likely to lose her any public sympathy, either the Dobby's grave thing, or I guess that's not really her, but like the suing the NHS thing? Because I don't know, I don't have a lot of sympathy with people who like try and sue the NHS on the grounds of transphobia, you know.
This will not change public opinion of her, because she is doing exactly what the public expect her to. Subsea cables, really important pieces of infrastructure that we need. That subsea cable specifically is absolute. You can't just not put subsea cables in. People are already so arsey and up in arms about subsea cables. They are something that people get so irate about. Everyone's worried that China's going to come and destroy them, when actually, fun fact, they're usually destroyed by usual corrosion, or just like fishes being silly and going over ground that they shouldn't, or throwing anchors down where they shouldn't. But we need more subsea cables. We need an overhaul of the UK's grid. That will take about 30 years to overhaul our grid, specifically in a way for renewables, because right now it's based around fossil fuels. We need things like more subsea cables. You can't put a subsea cable there because this book that I read when I was a child, an elf died here. Someone's elf slave died here. Oh, no, he was free. And, like, instead of being like, it's so silly. No one cares. I mean, people do care, and that is the heartbreaking part, that people cling to their bigoted children's books so bad. There's something about children's books, like, that were written from and including places of so much bigotry that grown-ups won't let away. Bar is another one. You know that cute little elephant?
No, I don't know this.
Barbar.
I may
Barbar the elephant. Very big. Kids, UK grew up with him. And he was like, the whole concept behind it is so overtly racist. And you say that and people go up in arms. People cannot accept that their childhood books are so inherently bigoted, and they do that on purpose. It's ridiculous.
I just Googled it. I don't think I've seen Barbar before. Maybe when I was very young. I just don't recognize it. But yes, no, I wouldn't be surprised. So much of like, yeah. I mean, there's so much like bigotry in children's literature that's like unfortunately baked into the original text as well. Like even going back, like Disney's Aladdin, it's full of tropes. Like there's all sorts of problematic media.
Dr. Seuss.
Yes, and there's not to say you can't enjoy problematic media. You can enjoy problematic media. I enjoy plenty of problematic media.
But now problematic media is impacting our subsea fucking cables. Put the books down.
And trans people, importantly, because of course
that is the
all
major
of that money
issue,
gets redirected. Yeah.
Children are dying because of transphobic policies, and adults. Trans people will die, and actively are. Policies like this are killing them. And they are impacting their day-to-day life. They are making, like, individual people's lives so much more difficult. For what? Because you don't agree with their lifestyle. I don't give a fuck. Then don't do it yourself. Nobody cares. It's so frustrating seeing people just cling to J.K. Rowling like that. She does not care about you. She's not going to choose you.
There is probably women in their mid-60s at the moment who support J.K. Rowling on Facebook, on Twitter, and are going to suffer some of the last hours of their lives in an under-resourced NHS that their favourite billionaire attempted to sue, and the NHS had to redirect resources to deal with the lawsuits as a result of the transphobia that's being pushed, and they will help her do it. It really is a disastrous kind of situation with the whole NHS suing thing. By the way, do undersea cables, would that even impact the beach? Would that even would there be anything on the surface? I don't actually know.
I don't think so. I live in a place where we have issues with our cables a lot.
Yeah.
Just because they're quite old and it's really shallow waters, and fishermen not always. I don't hate fishermen. Any fishermen out there, I'm sorry. But they just keep catching them and they break. I have never actually physically seen a subsea cable. I mean, I know what they are. I've seen maps of them. My partner works with them. I've never seen. I live near. I imagine we have one of the highest concentrations of subsea cables in Albany. Probably. Don't quote me. That's pseudoscience. Don't quote me.
I could see that being the case, though. I could see that being the case. Apologies to our large cohort of fishermen who are watching this. Anyway,